was voting on the ordinance before seeing the policy. To me, they go together, and I find it hard to vote on one without seeing the other. That's why my preference is to postpone the formal introduction of this ordinance until August. This will allow us to see both documents at the same time before finalizing either one of them. This, to me, makes for a better decision in the long run. I'd like to mention a few key ideas that relate to what Peter has so often refers to as our thought process. There's one key idea that's very important to me. In my thought process, what we're really trying to do with this committee is accomplish what I would call a paradigm shift. We're trying to move from working with transportation through a silo approach, separate departments, separate boards, separate committees, separate towns, and encourage work that's more collaborative and interconnected across departments, across boards, across committees, across towns, just like what you heard referenced in the strategic plan from EDEC this evening. I think the ordinance should say something, reflect this shift. This ordinance says nothing about it. The ordinance basically it has very limited information about what the committee will do. I, at a minimum, need to see the policy paper that spells out the specific assignments. If you looked, just referencing again, the ordinance that spelled out EDEC's responsibilities, there were probably 8 or 9 pretty specific responsibilities listed right in the ordinance, one of which was to create a strategic plan, which you saw presented this evening. I want to give you a few examples from our ordinance, and I did send this by email, but in case you didn't bring it with you, I have a couple of, I'd like to share this with the members of the committee. Could you, there's enough for everyone. So if you look at the first page of this, the cover page there is rationale. It is very important to me that somewhere, whether in the ordinance or in the policy, we communicate in writing why we're establishing this committee in the first place. If you look at the rationale statement, you'll see there's several whereas statements. We mentioned quality of life. We reference a bunch of different topics. The fact that there are many different stakeholders. We talk about we'd like to encourage people, more biking, more walking, for health benefits, for the traffic reduction. The most important statement on the rationale is the one that I put in bold there. That, to me, if someone says, why did we set up this committee? That statement in bold says it. Why? Because we find that a need exists to establish transportation as a consolidated topic and to establish a forum that promotes information sharing and planning coordination across a variety of transportation issues and stakeholders. To me, that statement belongs in the ordinance. It's enduring. And if it's not going to be in the ordinance, it should be in the policy. But my understanding is the policy includes information that is fluid and shifts from year to year. So I'm a little confused on that. I would like to see that statement included in the ordinance. That would be my preference. If you look on the next page, responsibilities. Thank you. So what you see there in black, there are 4 responsibilities that are listed. Those are the ones that are existing in the ordinance that's before us tonight. I highlighted 3 others in red, which all of the ones that I've listed there in red stem from why we're establishing this committee in the first place. So, for example, A talks about developing a transportation plan. To me, developing a plan is different than doing a separate set of projects. You know, I would like to see the Transportation and Circulation Advisory Committee develop a transportation plan and develop a plan that addresses walking, biking, driving, parking, and all the subtopics that are listed on here. So to me, giving that a direction in the ordinance is important. On responsibility, let's see here, D, I highlighted support information sharing and collaborative planning across boards and across departments. That to me connects with why we're establishing the committee in the first place. To me, that's an enduring responsibility, and I would like to see it highlighted in the ordinance. And it was in the information that we provided to Mr. Quinn that is going to be put into the policy. But to me, this is something that's enduring and should be in the ordinance. Another one, the final one, responsibility that I highlighted was resident participation. I think that's essential. I've been to many different transportation workshops, and every workshop I've been to has emphasized the importance of, you know, encouraging public participation when you're working with transportation issues. And you saw some of it tonight with the questions that people have. These are the types of questions that I want to encourage our transportation committee to work with by having people come to the meeting and in other ways, which I put in the draft of the responsibilities on here. The final page of the document I gave you, I called it TCAP projects. To me, these are the kinds of projects that you would put in a separate document because they are specific and they might change from year to year. So we don't need to discuss all of those tonight. I put them in there as examples of projects that I do see as, you know, separate from the ordinance itself because they're not enduring and ongoing, although they're very important. At the top of the list, I would like to see the Transportation Advisory or Transportation and Circulation